Hi, I'm Andoni at Beryl Consulting, and I'm happy to be joined by Stephanie Ramezan from the Crypto Collective.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Excellent, of course. So to get us started, why did you start the Crypto Collective?
It's a great question. So during my time at Gemini, which is the regulated exchange and custodian within the digital asset space, I saw multiple gaps in the market. Very much from the strategy and growth side of the market when dealing with institutions, but also on the PR marketing and communication side. Now, I'm only one woman, so I can't do everything. My background is traditional financial services. I started more on the capital market side of things, then went more into corporate finance. I had my first entrepreneurial foray into digital assets in 2018 with a startup called 𝐒𝐭𝐞𝐩𝐡, which was a pioneer in the banking and fintech side of the markets. And from there, I went to Gemini. And whilst I was at Gemini, as mentioned, I saw a couple of gaps. So with my growth and strategy hat on, I thought there has to be a better way of doing things. I interacted with some of the big four consultancies who are great at what they do and what they've done traditionally. But even though they had teams focusing on digital assets, I feel that they couldn't really have the impact that was needed for the industry because a lot of them didn't actually have the hands-on experience. And I think crypto, more than anything else, it's a very practical industry. It's not a theoretical one.
Yeah.
So I dealt with multiple institutions. They would bring PwC or KPMG with them to meetings, multiple analysts writing beautiful reports, but weren't really moving the industry forward or having impact. So from my side of the business, I really focus on that growth and strategy piece that the big four consulting firms would have naturally fallen into. And then I have a co-founder, Lauren Shepperton. She worked with me at Gemini and she was our CMO and head of communications. So going back to the other gap. And that was a real issue, I think, for anyone in the space. You have Web3 agencies, but they really struggle to communicate with traditional investors. Being able to speak to investors, speak to an institutional audience, whether that's from a marketing perspective or a communications perspective. And then you have traditional agencies who, unfortunately, some of them are still terrified of crypto and also do not have enough knowledge. So I'd say between the two of us, we really act as that critical bridge between the TradFi and the DeFi spaces.
Oh, which is so important.
Yes.
And since starting the Crypto Collective, what are two of the most interesting projects that you've come across?
Difficult to pick two. I would say, firstly, a project that has tokenized physical spot uranium, which is a very provocative subject because, in my opinion, it's actually a very misunderstood commodity. And for those who aren't aware, uranium is really one of the most key commodities for the future of our Earth and where we're going in terms of the nuclear fuel thesis. It's critical to the AI and data center boom that we're all seeing. And until recently, you could only really access physical spot uranium with a minimum ticket OTC of $4 to $5 million. Now with tokenized fractional ownership, anybody can buy uranium. So really it's blockchain doing what it was set out to do, democratization of markets, access to markets that one could never really reach before, which is incredibly fascinating. Another really interesting project is one that has tokenized private credits, which is a multi-trillion-dollar industry and one that is ripe for disruption. So many layers of unnecessary friction, so many layers of fees. And so it's been really incredible working with both of those two projects and bringing them to market.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that with me. And 2025 has been an incredible year for digital assets when it comes to policy, when it comes to digital asset treasuries. What are you envisioning for 2026?
Well, I think if someone said to me 3 years ago, can you imagine in 2025, there'll be multiple publicly listed crypto companies? I would have said yes, but most people would have said no. And so I actually just want to take a moment to recognize a lot of the people who have really believed, and it's through their grit, determination, dedication that we have as an industry got where we are today, despite a few setbacks that we're all aware of. So I think we'll see more of the same. We'll see more publicly listed companies, whether they're infrastructure companies, or maybe more digital asset treasuries, but let's say digital asset treasury 2.0. We've seen a lot of Bitcoin and Ethereum treasuries. I think we'll see my diversification of the assets in those treasuries. And I think we'll see maybe even more traditional markets taking the digital asset treasury method and applying it to other assets beyond crypto, because it's just an amazing way for institutions to access.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much,
Thank
Stephanie.
you
It
for
was a
having me.
pleasure speaking with you today.